Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at one of the heroes removed from the Dota universe, the Gambler. Pegged by the community as the most imba hero to ever enter the battlefield, the Gambler lives up to his name by having all of his skills literally be based purely on luck. The Gambler, also known as Maverick, made his first public appearance in patch 6.00 on the Sentinel side. He was a pretty normal ranged intelligence hero, average starting stats, damage, armor, and 500 attack range. So what exactly made this hero so imbalanced? Let's find out by starting with his first skill, Anti-Up. When cast, the single target spell deals damage to enemies or heals allies. In order to cast this, you have to pay its mana cost and a bet of 100 of your gold. If that enemy gets a kill, then Maverick receives up to 600 gold, just like that. If that hero instead gets killed, then Maverick only receives half the gold. This skill applies a 60-second buff on the chosen target. If that hero doesn't get a kill or get killed within that 60 seconds, then Maverick just wasted 100 gold, got nothing in return, and the buff is removed. It's much easier to predict that a hero is going to die than choosing which hero is going to get the kill. But if you're feeling lucky or have the ability to coordinate with your team, then you can cash out on a much bigger amount. Hence the name, the Gambler. Let's move on to his next skill for a bit, Roulette. When Roulette is used, it chooses a hero at random in the area. That hero then takes up to 35 times its level in damage. The tricky part about this skill is that it doesn't care if you're on Maverick's team or not. It hits you, friend or foe. Also, Roulette required 2 heroes, not counting the Gambler, for it to work. So you'd need 2 enemy heroes, or 1 enemy hero and 1 allied hero, and for some reason this Mountain King also qualified as an eligible target. His third skill, Lucky Stars, is a passive that gives him a small chance to instantly kill a creep. The second part of Lucky Stars gives him the same small chance to proc 250 bonus damage on a building or 500 bonus damage on a hero. The third part of Lucky Stars is similar to the skill Pillage, which is what Raiders and Grunts could have in Warcraft 3. This means that every time Maverick attacks something, he gains gold. How much gold he gains is based on this formula. Right now, I'm gaining about 1 gold every few attacks. And finally, his ultimate, All In. When All In is used on an enemy, it deals a random damage amount between 1 and Maverick's current gold amount. So, if Maverick had, say, 2,500 gold saved up, then there's a chance his ultimate could nuke someone for 2,500 damage. While that is an insane amount of damage, there is a chance that Maverick will instead lose all of his current gold and deal 0 damage. One thing to note is that there was no damage cap to the amount of damage All In could deal. If the Gambler had 6,000 gold saved up, All In could deal 6,000 damage, or he could lose all 6,000 gold. While that is on the extreme end, it would be absolutely game-breaking either way. On the lower end of the spectrum, not so game-breaking. But even 1,000 or 2,000 gold saved up could easily take out any hero at almost any point of the game, and the spell only has a 60-second cooldown. On the flip side, if you're really unlucky, you could instead lose 1,000 or 2,000 gold every 60 seconds, and that would be pretty painful too. However, Lucky Stars and Anti-Up both give him ways to farm gold faster than any other hero. If you're cashing in on Anti-Up gold every 60 seconds for 600 gold or 300 gold, then you could easily have enough money to just be throwing it away while still sustaining your item build. And if you really wanted to be imba with this hero, then you just have to have your ally pick techies. Because there was a bug where techies could suicide with Anti-Up applied to him, and if techies got the kill, then Maverick would get both the kill bounty, 600 gold, and the death bounty, 300 gold. That's a whopping 900 gold for Maverick in just one gank. While on the topic of bugs, in this first version I couldn't get Lucky Stars to proc. I was gaining gold per hit, but I could not instantly kill a creep or deal bonus damage to a hero or building. Now I know 1 to 4% is pretty low, but I tried this for 10 minutes straight and it would not work. There's always bugs when a new hero comes out though, and those bugs are usually fixed in the next patch, along with small tweaks for balancing purposes. In 6.01, Maverick's starting damage, armor, agility, intelligence, and mana pool were all tweaked, but that's a pretty small change. As for Roulette, the damage amounts were changed a bit, so it made the skill a little more powerful at all levels by adding hero level +4 as the damage amount. On top of that, it no longer activates or targets allies, or this guy. Also, Lucky Stars is now working correctly and you can proc insta-kills on creeps. The damage is also now proccing correctly on heroes and buildings. And the damage proc on heroes was changed from 500 to 250. Now the really imbalanced thing about this skill is that the chance to proc any of these is calculated when Maverick begins his attack, not when the attack lands. So, like many other heroes still in Dota 1 who can spam S to proc something, Maverick can also spam S to frequently proc his insta-kills or crits. Yeah. As for all in, a damage cap was added so that you can no longer deal ridiculous amounts of damage if you had the goal to do so. It is now capped at 1500, 2000, and 2500 at their respective levels. Although I don't know the calculation or chance to fail in this version, it just says the more damage all in would deal, the greater its chance to fail. I'm not sure if Ginsu was still working on Dota in 6.04 or if IceFrog had taken over, but the Gambler received quite a few changes. First of all, Roulette was removed and Chip Stack was added. Chip Stack dealt damage equal to a percentage of that enemy's gold. At 30% and 1000 gold, which I'd say most heroes would have, that's already 300 damage. Someone saving up for a Blink Dagger and have 2000 gold, that's 600 damage. Saving up for a Sacred Relic, that's 1140 damage. Add in a 6-second cooldown, and that's a lot of damage in a team fight for a non-ultimate skill. Or even an ultimate skill considering the 6-second cooldown. As for Lucky Stars, the chance to proc improved by 4% added to each level, which is actually a pretty big increase, especially considering the proccing was still bugged if you spammed S. All-in's chance to fail got increased at all levels, from 15, 10, 5 to 20, 15, 10. Since those are decently high stakes, his all-in failure no longer cost Maverick all of his gold. Instead, if all-in were to fail, Maverick loses the amount of gold he would have dealt in damage, which could be anywhere between 1 and 2500 at level 3. In patch 6.06, there were 3 changes. The first is that the bonus damage from Lucky Stars was slightly reduced. The second is that the Techie's suicide and anti-up bug was fixed. Suicide no longer gave Gambler the death money, only the kill money. The third is that all-in's chance to fail was increased even more, from 20, 15, 10 to 30, 25, 20. Nothing else was changed, so the stakes were upped even more. And then it happened. In 6.07, IceFrog removed the Gambler from the game and he hasn't been seen since. His days were pretty short-lived, with just under 6 months of play. But during those 6 months, he gained quite a fan base, but also a lot of haters. I've never seen a hero simultaneously be so beloved, yet so hated in a community, even more so than Techies, if you could believe that. When the Gambler was taken out of the game, there's 2 things everyone could probably agree on. 1. He was ridiculously fun. 2. He was ridiculously imbalanced. Fortunately for the competitive scene, most tournaments seem to still be running on version 5.84c, so he wasn't too much of an issue in his 6 months of play. As for pubs, the Gambler put you on an emotional roller coaster when you played as him. You're ecstatic about the massive amounts of damage one moment, and in the next you've lost 2500 gold. If there was ever a reason to rage quit, this would be it, hands down. So will the Gambler ever make a return to Dota? I sent IceFrog an email asking, but he's a pretty busy guy and never got back to me. As for my personal opinion, I don't think the Gambler has a place in Dota competitively. Gold is way too important of a factor to be bet away, and while we do have heroes that are based on luck, like Ogre Magi, I think Gambler was way too extreme. A lot of people argue that his skills could just be reworked to be less chancy and not so painful on the bank account. However, if they did that, then would he really be the gambler anymore?